So hello everyone, good day. So today I will explain our Python programming practical exam. So this is all about the comprehensive hospital billing and admission system. So here's the requirements or the instructions. So number one is the patient information. So for the patient information, it's just the inputs. The patient ID should be a string. As you can see here, it's a string. The patient name is a string. The age is gonna be an integer like this. And for the room type, I just input here the print so that the user knows what to choose. So it's just going to enter the input type, which is a string, the days of stay, which is integer, lab test, which is integer, then the medicine fee, which is gonna be float for accuracy. And also it's gonna add the if the user needs an operation. Then next it's gonna be the vitals. So this program asks for the patient's vital signs. It's gonna check for the temperature, the systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, and also the heart rate. So these values are important for determining the patient's condition later. Later in this video, I'm gonna explain. So this is just the preparation of the data for the evaluation later. So for number 3, which is the room rates, this is it. So in this part, the program assigns a room rate based on the room type. So if ward is selected, the rate is gonna be 500. If the room type is selected, semi-private, then it's gonna be 1,000. Private is gonna be 2,000, and then the ICU is gonna be 5,000. This program uses a if statements, if else statements, which adds a match case inside of the if else, and it's just gonna print the room rates. So for the next part, which is the additional charges, here the additional charges is default at laboratory tests, which is 1 2 each. Operation fee is gonna be 15,000 if yes, okay. If the user answered no in the operation needed, then it's gonna be 0 pesos. They're not gonna be anything. Okay, as you can see, that's the value here. Then for the number 5, which is the processing and calculation, here's the process and all of the calculations, the formula, all the conditions here. For the room bill, it's gonna be equals for the days of stay multiplied by the room rate, of course. So for example, I'm gonna stay for 3 days, so it's gonna be multiplied for the amount of that room. For example, 2,000. If the days I'm gonna be staying is 3, so 2,000 times 3, it's gonna be 6,000 as the room bill. So for the lab bill, there's just the lab tests times the lab test. So let's check what's the lab test. Okay, so here's the first lab test without the S, and then for the other lab test here. So for the first lab test, it's just gonna ask for the number of lab tests. So how many tests are we going to make? And then for the second lab test, this is just the fixed amount. So it's just gonna be, for example, the test is gonna be the test is 3 times, or the test is gonna be 3. So it's just gonna be multiplied by 1200. So 1200 times 3 is gonna be 3600. So here, if the opera needed is equals to 1, which is yes, then the opera bill is gonna be equals to the opera fee. What is the opera fee? This is the opera fee, which is the 15K. So the 15,000 just gonna put inside the opera bill here. But if the user answers 0 or answers no in the question, if he needs operation, then it's gonna be no payment there. And then for the subtotal, you just need to add all the bills here, all the fees, room bill, lab bill, medical fee, and the operation bill for the subtotal. And then for the discounts, if the age is greater than or equal to 60, then the discount is 20%. That's the value of 0.20 here. So subtotal is gonna be multiplied by 0.20, which is in other to make it easier for you to understand, it's just going to be it's going to less 20% to the subtotal. So if the subtotal is 5,000, then the 20% of 5,000 is gonna be less, and that's gonna be the discount. Okay, and that's also the same thing for this one. And then for the total bill, it's just gonna be equals of the subtotal, which is this, minus the discount, the amount of the discount. Okay. So, and then for the number 6, patient health status. So here, as you can see, the value of temp eval, BP eval, and HR eval is set to blank because later the value that is inputted by the user is going to put inside this variables. So if temperature is this is the conditions, temperature is greater than 38, then it's gonna be fever, then else it's just a normal temperature. Then for the blood pressure, if systolic is greater than 140 or diastolic is greater than 90, that's gonna be high blood pressure. Then on the other hand, if the systolic is less than 90 or the diastolic is less than 60, then it's gonna be low blood pressure. Otherwise, it's just going to be a normal blood pressure. Then for the heart rate, it's gonna check if the heart rate is less than 60, then the evaluation is gonna be bradycardia, which is low heart rate. Else, if the heart rate is equals to 100, then it's gonna be high heart rate or tachycardia. Then else, it's gonna be just a normal heart rate. Then for the number 7, for the vital, this is the number 7. As you can see, this is just the final output. As you can see here, I input the patient ID, name, and then age, and then I chose the room type for 7 days of stay, 7 numbers of lab tests, And then the medicine fee is the 10K. If the operation needed is yes, so I clicked 1. And then for the summary, it's just going to show it like this, formatted text showing different details here, like vital signs, the information of the patient, then the billing details, and also the status of the discount. And then that is it for the laboratory exam for prelims. Bye, guys.